Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
First of all, let me thank you. I've prepared 2 papers which I believe will be circulated because they'll not be projected. But if you can see, first of all, I want to agree with the Honorable Minister. I've done 2 pictorials. One of them is described as Africa at the dinner table. And if you look at Africa at the dinner table, Africa is on a plate and it is meat. And the diners at the dinner table are France, the United Kingdom, the United States, the European Union, the Chinese, and progressively the Arabs. And my second picture is the African hotspots. It's not visible from there. But if you look at Africa today, and you make a clean sweep with your mind, there are different conflicts of different intensity in Somalia, in northern Mauritania, in northern Mali, in Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of Congo, Guinea-Bissau, in the Cameroons, in South Sudan, and one can go on and on. And there is a sense in which Africa has always been alive to the question of interference. I will refer this audience, particularly those who are starting, to take time and read the 32-odd speeches that were made in the month of May 1963 by the then heads of states and government of independent African states, the 32 of them. And there are 2 speeches that I want to isolate for this presentation. One was by David Dacko of Central African Republic. And in thanking Emperor Haile Selassie and Kwame Nkrumah on that day, he said that we must never forget that the colonial power has not left us. We must recognize that he did not go willingly. And if we don't check them, they'll come back again. And what would little Central African Republic do against them? Today, he is right. Today, if we remember the activities of France and how they have propped up the regime of Jean Bedel Bokassa, he was right. Today, as the Honorable Minister has indicated, Africa remains the only continent in the world that is referred to in these terms, Anglophone, to mean that we are a sphere of our erstwhile colonizers. About 2 weeks ago, there was a meeting of the Commonwealth in London, England. And a friend of mine who is an Anglophile sent me the photograph very gleefully, saying this is a meeting of 53 equal states. I told him, no. If it was so, why is it that the leadership of the Commonwealth is hereditary rather than rotational? In other words, in the minds of the British, her former colonies are still under her tutelage. And I want to submit to us that in the minds of what I'll call the conceptual West, they think they have a divine duty to instruct Africans what to do.
True.
And in the minds of many African leaders, they think that they have a divine duty to accept what they are told. That, in my view, is what the Honorable Minister was talking about, the mindset. And this is something that has been examined. We have seen France and its very pernicious presence in Africa. We know what they did in Burkina Faso against Thomas Sankara. We know what they did in Mali or the Sudan against Modibo Keita or against Sekou Touré in Guinea. Pernicious to the core. The Portuguese, we know what battles had to be fought in that area. And let me put this very bluntly. When the former leader of Portugal, Marcelo Caetano, was asked, why can you not allow the colonies to gain independence? This is what he said in substance. As I have examined world history over the years, the following have emerged. That the Caucasians have been responsible for monumental discoveries in the development of man. So have the Chinese, so have the Arabs. But the Africans have been responsible for nothing. They are only fit as hewers of wood and drawers of water. And I want to submit to you who are present here that in the conceptual West's unguarded moments, or guarded moments, that is what they think. And that is how they relate to Africa. So the whole idea that they will interfere is something that they think is their God-given duty. I said there were two speeches in 1963 that I wanted to refer to. I referred to David Dacko. The second one was the speech by Kwame Nkrumah. And Kwame provided the solution. He did not complain about colonialism. He said, we must live here with one army, with one command. We must live here with one currency. We must live here with one currency, one country. I do not know where its capital will be, but I suggest Leopoldville or Bangui. Other leaders may have their thoughts. Kwame was right, but who listened to him? Several years down the line, and I've said it in my paper, there were coup d'etats which were engineered, there were mutinies which were engineered, and other forms of destabilization. And I want to believe that the person who actually said it very well in the 1980s was the former American President Ronald Reagan. He said, the United States of America does what is in her best interest. And I agree with him. Does Africa do what is in her best interest? Do African leaders do what is in the best interest of Africa? Interference will be there in very blatant and brazen ways and in subtle ways. I've always asked, until very recently, how many African countries manufactured bullets? Very few. Until very recently, how many African countries, in fact, how many African countries manufacture jet fighters? How many African countries are involved in the arms industry? Some of the leading conceptual West countries which pontificate to us about prizes, peace prizes, are the leading manufacturers of landmines. And if you look at their foreign exchange earners, it is the military and security items. So they say with their mouths, what do they not believe in their hearts? In Kiswahili we say, vita vya panzi furaha ya kunguru. That when the locusts are fighting, it is the joy of the hawk. Because when they kill each other, they get the food easily, dead. It is in the best interest, I dare submit, without fear of contradiction, that the elite in the conceptual West does not want Africa to stabilize, despite their assertion to the contrary. And you'll see it in every country because conflict is a major industry. Today, you look at South Sudan and the many peace conferences that are being held, but if you ask who supplies the arms, who provides safe havens, it is the conceptual West. And when I use the term conceptual West, I'm saying that it extends to countries which are geographically not in the West, like Australia or Canada. So I'm submitting in answer to your question, Joe, that interference is there, and it is part, to use this old cliche, of the neo-colonial project. The neo-colonial project requires that Africa must remain within the sphere of influence of these states. Today, if you look at the United Kingdom, which has left Europe, one would have thought that those are their cousins and that they should sit in comfort with them. You will now see their involvement being de-emphasized in Europe and their interest and appetite growing towards the Commonwealth. Because in the Commonwealth, they are the major domos. They'll tell us what to do. In Europe, they have to grapple with the Germans and the French, and they don't like it. That is the unspoken bit of it. The French also are in Europe, but the Germans are too strong, and they don't like it. So they want to hold Côte d'Ivoire, Gabon, and tell them what to do. I do not know how many of you saw the press conference that was attended by President Macron of France and Nana Addo of Ghana. And when Nana Addo spoke as an African should, you could see the body language of the French president. How dare this man speak this way? In other words, I'm saying that interference is the mother's milk of European economies. But to answer your second question, they have their own recruits who Professor Philip Nying'oro will be speaking here. To use the old vocabulary of those days, they have the people you call their comprador bourgeoisie. You must remember. The comprador bourgeoisie are Africans with black faces, but essentially they are doing the bidding of these powers. They are the ones you'll find them in different spheres. And they will be present. They are in your cabinet, but they are actually representatives of the foreign intelligence agencies of those countries. We know this. If you look at the declassified papers from the United States, we now know that some of leading cabinet ministers in many African countries were working for the CIA or some Western agencies. So you are sitting in cabinet, and in these days of the mobile phone, they are possibly texting their masters in Europe and America. So interference is also exacerbated by these comprador bourgeois for their own benefits. And it has never changed, Honorable Minister. In the early days of slavery, they gave some of the chiefs mirrors and alcohol. Today, what they give them are flats in Paris or in Dubai. And that is what makes them undermine Africa. The third mode of interference is through institutions. Look at the competition as it is now. There is a new entrant into the market that is called China. China is very subtle. Many people wrote the obituary of Rwanda in 1994. 20 years down the line, it has been demonstrated that Africans can actually do it. Between 1983 and 1987, I think Thomas Sankara in Burkina Faso also demonstrated that it can be done. We saw in Somalia, despite their problem. So my prescription is African unity. Africa must now begin to negotiate initially in terms of blocks, SADC, ECOWAS, East African Community, and ultimately as African Union. And lo and behold, we must do it. And I've always said this cliche, we must do it, because if we don't do it, we will be done. Thank you.
It is ridiculous and it is against the laws of nature that we can have somebody sitting pretty who takes home more money than the credible entrepreneur who is doing actual production of goods and services.
We always say it as it is.
It is only in this country that when a thief is arrested, you hear elders from their tribe saying, he is our son and he is our thief.
If you are deviant
Yes.
and I call you leader, probably you are already a leader, but you are leading in the wrong direction.
We want to see the role of the youth
Yeah.
in the security,
Yes.
governance,
Yes.
and development.
The youth that I meet and work with here, you know, we call them the millennials and X's and Y's, this and that. They don't necessarily want to live like their fathers and grandfathers, do business like their fathers and grandfathers. They're more independent, they're better educated, and they're the ones that are making everything move in this region.
We look at the issues, we talk about issues that impact people's lives in Africa.
The African peoples themselves continue to cheer bad leaders, and because they cheer them on, they continue to be misled.
Let me ask you, doctor, would you rather be somebody who does not enjoy so much freedom but you are rich?
Yes.
Or you'd rather be poor who you are actually imprisoned by the poverty itself?
My goal is not to come here and say, I want the majority ownership, I want to own this, I want to own that, I want to do this. My goal is we all make money and we're all happy, and I help build a big business here.
Punchline is for Africa, with Africa, from Africa.
We discuss Africa. We see what ails Africa. And today, this afternoon, we want to see whether Sudan will permanently remain a sick child of Africa. Is it a permanent sickness? Can we resolve the issues of Southern Sudan? Is it something that has gone wrong for 200 years? There has always been a problem in Southern Sudan, in that great region, starting from all the way the Alimadi Wars and the rest of all what happened until today. Peace seems to be elusive. Why has UN taken slow action? Why hasn't UN set up a tribunal? We want to see a tribunal that will make sure that Southern Sudan people are accountable. Those who committed crimes against the human beings. 20,000 Sudanese perished. They are perished. They are not accountable. Nobody can account for them. And we cannot sit here, go on hammering peace agreements without mechanisms of accountability. If we set a tribunal for Sierra Leone, for Rwanda, for Camera Rouge, we need somebody to stand up for the poor masses, the masses that have died, the masses that continue to die, the masses that are being brutalized, murdered, maimed on a daily basis by marauding armies of both Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. There must be an accountability. You are not going to sit here and tell people there is no accountability in Southern Sudan. There must be a tribunal. Why do we run to harass countries of Kenya? Put ICC on Kenya, put ICC on this country, put ICC on Central African Republic. Why have we delayed on putting a tribunal for Southern Sudan to find out who is killing, who has been killing, how they have been killing people? Let me speak for the people in Southern Sudan, the women, the children who have not gone to school, the children who have no medicine, the children who have nothing, who have been running since 2013, and the war cannot end because of two people. Let them face the tribunal. I'm not going to keep quiet.
Wherever you were in the world, in America, waking up this morning, and those in Asia, in China, in Russia, in down under, in Australia, New Zealand, good afternoon. This show, the People's Court. The People's Court today looks at South Sudan. the peace process, obstacles, challenges. What are the challenges? What can make South Sudanese come on table? Is there a problem? Has the method been addressed badly? Has the peace process worked elsewhere? Any sample of IGAD? Is there a big problem? We want to look at all those as we speak, as we talk, as we engage, as we discuss. I am Dr. David Nyokorachi Matsanga with my co-host Miriam Ogoto.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to be very brutal, honestly brutal. I'm going to be candid, call it as it is, say it as it is. South Sudan is a sick child of East Africa. South Sudan pains us. Every day we sleep, we talk, we walk, we drink wine in Nairobi, we drink wine in Kampala like gasolers. South Sudan, over 250,000 people, or actually 2/3 of the population are displaced, or half of it is displaced. 485,000 people perished, killed, slaughtered, murdered by brutal armies, both sides, because no side was using water. Both sides were using bullets. Is it time for us to stand up and say enough is enough? Is it time for people of Africa to say this war has gone on too much? We need changes. We need a breakthrough. Is it enough for UN to laugh, to cry, to come in too late, too little? That's what they have done. Why is it that we have not constituted a force similar to AMISOM in Somalia? What are the obstacles, the constraints? Financial constraints? If there are financial constraints, we need to know, is South Sudan going to end up the way it is, the way Somalia has gone? Do we leave it to a pariah state, to terrorists? The people who have perished in South Sudan need a voice. What can accelerate the peace process in South Sudan? These are the factors, the things that I want to discuss, to touch on. And if you want to contribute, feel free, challenge me. If you think my theory does not work, if you think what I'm proposing is not the best way, the question is, does South Sudan need a tribunal? Yes or no? If you are for yes, say the reasons. If you are for no, tell me why the tribunal should not be there. We call upon South Sudanese to decide, to take a decision. I am not on any side tonight. I am going to hammer the way it is, because I've lived in South Sudan. I've worked with Riek Machar. I've worked with Salva Kiir. I've worked with Bashir. I brought peace to northern Uganda, which was elusive, worse than the war that we see today in South Sudan. I speak with the experience that I know all types of formations. I know the process of DDR. We can't do a DDR when you have begun with a political transformation. The problem of South Sudan is that we are doing political peace process. We are not doing accountability of a peace process. That's why the peace process has collapsed several times. A political arrangement of how to share power does not resolve the conflict of South Sudan. Let those here, let IGAD here, let AU here. If they have anything better than that, tell me, put it on table. You cannot start a peace process by arranging political leadership, increasing vice presidents, 10 of them. Even if you increase 20, when the people down there are not happy with what you are doing, we need to start with accountability. We need a format of accountability. What happened in South Sudan? A few months ago, I told the people of Africa and the people of the entire world that there must be a tribunal for people to run very quickly to Juba. Today, President Salva Kiir is on record for having hired a mercenary, another mercenary called Rainbagger, a CIA agent who mutilated Kenya, destroyed Kenya, we left Kenya wounded, paralyzed. Today, this guy has been hired to prevent a tribunal from coming to South Sudan. Why Africa thinks upside down? Why do we think upside down? You think Rainbagger will stop a tribunal? Rainbagger will accelerate the tribunal coming. Rainbagger was in Nairobi. He made sure that Uhuru, Ruto, and the Ocampo, other 4, end up in the ICC. Today, in the people's courts, in the eyes of the people of Africa, I want to say it, and I say it now, that the tribunal is the only access to Riek returning quickly to Juba. That a tribunal can make South Sudan more efficiently accountable for the crimes of the people who have died. A tribunal will hasten the peace process. A tribunal will make the ceasefire stand. Because anybody violating the tribunal, the regulations will end up in that tribunal. Today, warlords march in South Sudan, kill the way they want, maim the way they want. Children are suffering in the fields. Women have been running since 2013, when the war broke out. There has never been peace, no schools, no hospitals, no food. Starvation has cropped. Conditions, rain and heat and rain, too much heat, too much rain. Diseases that are curable cannot be cured in South Sudan. No one is going to keep quiet. The only one who is going to keep quiet is a silly one in Africa, but not me. That is my position. There must be accountability. There must be reconciliation. The first item on the agenda of the people of South Sudan is accountability. Without accountability and without a peace process coming from down the people, and you call a peace process from coming from top of the people, from the leadership, arranging yourself with positions, because you every time you disagree, another one breaks out to become a vice president. How many vice presidents will you have? You continue killing the South Sudanese at the expense of vice presidents. How many of these vice presidents will you have? What significance do they have? What unity are they creating for acceleration of a peace process? Wagwan. Show me that when you added Riek Machar, when you added 10, the other one, Taban, when you added the former Speaker of Parliament, when you added another lady, Madame Garang, isn't it? When you add, even if you add 200 of them, still there will be no peace, because each of them will go on breaking until the peace is disrupted. What logic is this of adding presidencies or vice presidents? There must be accountability first, and the tribunal must come faster. I'm sorry, even if I perish, take me home, ye. Bring the tribunal. I said it, and the world listened. This is Dr. Matanga. I am not a pedagogist. I'm not Clooney. I'm not George Soros. I'm Nkrumah, Nyerere, Secretary Obote left the spirit in here. That's the spirit. Jomo Kenyatta left the spirit in here. I will speak out. However much you hate me, there must be a tribunal on South Sudan. Accountability is the most important thing in a peace process. If there's no accountability, forget it. Forget it. Apartheid ended because there was accountability. Apartheid ended because there was Truth Reconciliation Commission. Mandela came out and coexisted in presidency on condition there will be people who will come and say, I was the head of South African spy network, I killed you. I killed you, I slaughtered you, I imprisoned you. That's why the South African rainbow country still stands today. Tell me, Miriam.
Yes, of course, Dr. Matsanga, very vital points there you raised. And when you talked about the many vice presidents they keep having as a country, and right now, just before you came here, I was just reading a report right now, last Friday, actually just a few days ago, I remember reading that they're going to, like 40 of their diplomats have not been reporting to work. So apparently now South Sudan government plans to close down at least 39 overseas embassy because of financial constraints. And then you come home and they have this lineup of all these vice presidents and all these officials in the government, and you wonder, is it a power game, or is it what are South Sudanese going to gain by that, by having that many vice presidents or people in places of power? What is that in regards to the people of South Sudan? How are they going to benefit from this? And when you look at things like that,
we seem to have a caller. Hello, caller. Hello, you called? You want to make a contribution? Ended. Oh. Anybody who would like to make a contribution, the number is open, +254 795 638 145, Nairobi, Kenya.
Yes,
go ahead, Miriam.
Sorry about that. And as I was saying, when you look at how the things they've given prominence and what they're working on right now, it tells you very much that really South Sudanese interest and is not even the urgent thing they have. It's just a matter of power struggles and egos and things like that. So South Sudanese do not feature when it comes to the priorities that these leaders have for that country.
You look at today. The embassy is closing. What were they doing? Magendo.
Yeah, 39 overseas embassies. Trade.
What were the Sudanese? A smaller country like Sudan. Why do you have 39 embassies? You pay with water or with what?
Actually, they still have a lot across the world, but they're closing down 39 because they cannot just manage it.
You can't manage them because some of them are not viable. Why don't you put one ambassador to move between Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Burundi? He can use a plane every Friday to go and check on those places. Yes, what you need that you have you don't even have tomatoes to eat. Tomatoes come from Kenya and Uganda. Why do you put 39 embassies? So I'm brutal today. My brothers, Riek Machar, I respect you as an leader. When you needed help for me to call Zuma under the intelligence system of South Africa, I did so. So don't tell people I did not contribute. You are released from South African jail. So you will say I did not do it? Don't annoy me.
Yes, he was under house arrest.
Yes. We asked, he said he needed a forum. I put him on this television station and I said, Riek needs a forum to engage. Why hasn't he engaged? Why is he making people die? I picked a phone and I called Lindiwe Zulu, the Minister of Smaller Enterprises in Zuma's government, to connect me to people, the powers to be, whom I cannot name in South Africa. The same powers that helped me to finish ICC on case number 2 of another guy here who doesn't want to say thank you. Yes, I tell them off. Walai, I tell them off. I said it. When I went for Rule 68, I used Professor Maupen. Harvey Maupen was coming with a network, that there was a network in the Rift Valley that was killing people. It's Matanga who finished that. And they have never said he hasn't. He goes on around chest bumping. Oh. Let's come back to the point of South Sudan.
You just got it
yes.
by yourself.
I am angered. So, Riek Machar,
yes.
I am a honest man. I told you I will pick a phone and I call South African ministers. Minister, my friend Hadebe, who was the minister for presidency, is my friend. You didn't make friendship for me with him. Did you? And I said, release this guy to go. Igadi came in too late. Raila came in too late. I had done it. They ride on me and eat. So they released Riek to a forum. Sindio, he comes to the forum, he starts eating rice and mutton. The people are dying in South Sudan. The women are being raped. Children are being killed. There is anger. Hunger is killing everybody. Anger is killing everyone. Both hunger and anger are killing people in South Sudan. People are annoyed, upset.
And talking about hunger, some 45,000 people face starvation, which could worsen to famine-like conditions without assistance. This is according to the Norwegian Refugee Council. And this is a very recent report that they did and when they toured the parts of South Sudan. So serious problems in South Sudan. For South
I am not only blaming, thank you very much, Miriam. I'm not blaming Riek alone. I'm blaming Salva Kiir also. What will he do to me? What? What will he do? What? He has hired a mercenary called Rainbagger. Rainbagger killed Kenya here. Can't he ask me? I am the one who exposed Rainbagger and you said Kenya. When they were buying witnesses to fix Uhuru Kenyatta. How can you go and buy Rainbagger 3.2 million? Why don't you give Matsanga to do for you? I will do the most important job clean. And there will be no tribunal. Now let's see. You have put Rainbagger. Walai, angalia hapa. I will bring the tribunal. I will bring the tribunal to show Salva Kiir I'm powerful in the region and in this continent. I'm listened to. Tribunal is on the way. You have erred. You can't spend 3 million shillings to a man who is a bulldozer who actually wanted to detain people with Ocampo in Nairobi and give him the money to eat with his children and pay his mortgage. When some of us who have been fighting for Sudan to normalize are zero, you give him that contract, itamumaliza. Tribunal inakuja, haki ya Mungu itakuja, Mr. Salva Kiir. Watch this space and market this day today. Market. Wow. Market. The tribunal will be on the way. The tribunal is here. If Rainbagger is to stop the tribunal, Matsanga is for the tribunal. Wacha to one who is white and black. But when I talk about South Sudan issues and the African issue, I'm more listened to. I'm more listened to. You go and ask Bashir. Bashir will tell you, I told him, don't do this. When I went to Khartoum, I am the only African who has ever, Miriam, filed an application in the International Criminal Court challenging Bashir's arrest, indictment, and a warrant of arrest. This man you hear there, here, see him. Because I saw where the money came from to indict Bashir. The Americans later on surrendered the documents to me. Wagwan. I have defeated them. Americans are running away from the ICC because Matsanga exposed it. Wagwan. Tell me, you give Reinberg the money, how will get the tribunal, he will take the money for free. Quicker. Today I've told them.
Yes, and while you find your way to the tribunal, a report by a panel of experts that were appointed by the United Nations Security Council stated, just part of the report, and I will read that long before the latest developments around the South Sudanese peace deal, it had become clear that the 8-month pre-transitional phase was fraught with missed deadlines and a government reluctant to share control of key parts of the political, security, and economic landscape. So the government of President Salva Kiir was not willing to be inclusive in some of these very important and vital organs when it comes to the governance of South Sudan. And so his opponent, or his rather political, foe, Dr. Riek Machar, was not agreeing to that.
But Riek cannot fly into Khartoum, into Juba, with no arrangement. The other day, both men, Salva Kiir had a pistol. Riek had a pistol. All of them waiting to kill each other in a room. We need a buffer zone. Why are we Africans talking up down? I'm over 60. I'm 64 years old. I am not going to sit here and talk nonsense. These guys are my editors. They are very bad people. One is hiring a mercenary. Another one is refusing to come. I told the UN, put Chisano, get Chisano to be in charge of the South Sudan. You will see peace in 2 months. You will see Riek Machar in Juba. Wachana na hii, these things running around. Go back to the basic arrangement of a peace process. Garanga told you, for Sudan to be stable, we must look at the basics. What are the basic principles here? The people are the basics. We have not asked what the people want. We are doing what the politicians want. That is the tragedy of South Sudan.
And doing what the politicians want, President Kiir terminated the mandate and services of the governors of Awale, Western Lakes, and Northern and Central Upper Nile just last Friday. And the transitional constitution of South Sudan requires that the president only to remove a state governor or dissolve a state legislative assembly and appoint a caretaker in the event of crisis in the state that threatens national security. And it has been said that really he did not meet that threshold, so he was not supposed to remove this governor. So will that make things a bit how will that work in regards to the peace process?
The political situation right now in South Sudan, the politics, the center, the pivotal point is broken down. It's gone. There is nothing you can piece up together until you bring the motion of accountability. If there is no accountability in the peace process first, that will make people fear the process itself. Forget it.
So the president himself is breaking the law because citizens of these states are required by the constitution to elect their own governor within 60 days. But he's gone to appoint his own people in these positions. And maybe these are places where his opposition.
Do you know what, if he was given a chance,
maybe
he would cut a state.
Yes.
He would cut a state of his own. He will cut a state. The more you appoint, now John Malong is also with an army in Central Equatoria, in the Equatorial region, the one near Uganda. I know that area very well. Most of the Sudanese who are watching me know me. I am the one who has been there. We know it. I know it. We solved a war together with Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. The northern Uganda conflict is me. This is the man. I talked, I braved myself, and I went until we got northern Uganda working. This peace process is not working. Don't lie to people and the West. President Uhuru's time flying here and here and here. Flying for what? This can't work until you get a tribunal. constitute a tribunal in Rwanda, in Tanzania, in Arusha, or put it anywhere in Addis Ababa, wherever you want. Because IGAD has elements who are sympathizing with either Salva Kiir or with Riek Machar. So, how will you get a peace process?
IGAD is not the right vehicle. We've all had that agreement. Yes.
What will they do? They need to be told the truth now. These boys are suffering. These boys are being called refugees everywhere. These boys are being hated everywhere. I know what it pains to be a refugee, because I'm one. I've suffered the humiliation, the indignity, the suffering that I've gone through makes me speak for those who want to go under that circumstance. Watch my space. Reinberger to stop tribunal, Matanga to bring tribunal. 2 names. And I will bring the tribunal. You cannot slaughter 84,000 people and you walk around to say there is no tribunal. To hell. Let's see. Hear me, Britain. Hear me. We have a tribunal. Let's get our draft resolution. Let's bring it. It is going to come. Hallelujah. People are fed up. People are fed up. You cannot. These boys are being mutilated. These boys are being insulted. Everywhere they walk, people call them Sudanese. Refugees. It's not very good. They are human beings. They need to go to their homes. They need peace. React, wake up from Khartoum. If not, I'm going to talk to General Duglo.
And it is interesting that you would say
I'm telling you, they better be thrown out. That's what we do.
Yes.
Get to Juba. And let Salva Kiir arrange security, UN. You know, until you get the UN coming in, I've told you, until you get people, an envoy. You see the mistake the UN has done and the AU. They are still relying on IGAD without money, borrowing money from states. Uganda can refuse to give you money. What will you do? If Uganda has not even paid the AU tariffs.
Uganda owes you money.
No, don't forget about mine. As long as the peace holds.
Yes. But it's interesting you should bring that up, because last Friday, President Salva Kiir was appealing to people living in the United Nations protection of civilian sites to return to their homes in order to restart their lives. So I think it's time for the South Sudanese who are still in the camps to return home to restart their lives.
The UN should change UNIMIS into a peace shooting mission.
A peace and shooting on the same sentence.
No, a shooting mission, not a peace. Because there's no peace to keep in South Sudan. There's no peace. We should get a big contingent of peace shooters or shooters. Those who shoot. If you violate if Riek is called for a meeting and Salva Kiir arms himself in the room to kill him, the UN will be in the middle. Not a UN that eats sausage and what are they called? Sandwiches. While they are observing on radio call over. No! We want a UN in the middle to keep the peace process. IGAD has no money. IGAD countries are involved in South Sudan. They can't solve that problem. That's punchline Africa. I punch. I have no prisoners, no room. My room is too small. My studio is too small, except for me and Miriam.
Thank you. And in that,
if you want to hate me, in fact, hate me, put me in your hate book. But I'm not going to keep quiet while people, blood is oozing. Blood is oozing. Imagine the women. Imagine the children. Look at those beautiful children. Look at the beautiful children suffering in the bushes because of the war. When will humanity rise up and look at the continent, say enough is enough?
and our viewers across the world, thank you so much for engaging with us. Keep writing to us. And let me just read something here. David Gatket Tap Ashang, you're saying, Dr. Matsanga, don't listen to Salva Kiir lies and mere propaganda. Salva Kiir lied that Dr. Machar has carried a pistol to kill him. Rather, his assassination attempted twice against Dr. Riek Machar. Tenny, all right, okay. All right, keep writing to us. Peter Biel, you're saying, thank you very much, Professor. You have another title today. There's no peace really true, Doctor. And so, yes. And according to even that report, meanwhile, South Sudanese are increasingly getting very worried, especially after the peace, the unity government, the deadline was extended to another 6 months. Right now, they don't even know what to do with their
Like I said, you wait for 6 months. You think 6 months will not be November. You will be here. They will extend again to 6 months.
Actually, President Kiir wanted another year extension.
Look at that. To do what? Hasn't he looted enough?
He's saying he needs to put structure.
No, hasn't he looted enough? Hasn't he? Look, where is it? If you are closing the embassy, you don't have money to pay even a diplomat. How do you hire a rogue ambassador? Rogue, called Reinberg. Very bad. And you give that man to Reinberg. Give it to Matanga, you will see. There will be miracles. I bet Salva Kiir listen to me and the Sudanese. I will make a tribunal come. And when you hear the announcement of the name of the tribunal, know that the Ugandan is powerful.
And talking about money, of course, South Sudan.
Yes, right now you can't hire a man to stop a tribunal. Then a rogue mercenary who has eaten money everywhere, who implicated Uhuru and Ruto and others here in Kenya, until I went there to shout. Redberg found me in Norfolk Hotel. At night, I said, what are you doing here with Hassan Omar? Don't tell me I tell everything now here. They had carried flash discs to destroy this country, Kenya. I found them at night. I told Hassan, have you been told the story when I almost threw Hassan Omar on a plane in Atlantic Ocean? I was very annoyed until Wako told me don't do it. Hassan Omar, that is Senator of Mombasa.
Former
whatever of what? These people are very bad. They were getting flash disk, taking information to investigators in the room. I got all the rooms of the investigators. I followed them. I am deadly. When it comes to investigation, don't ever try me. Is Ocampo in Sardis? Do you hear Ocampo employed anywhere in the world? Wait for his time to come. Wait, he's going to jail.
All right, so now that we have it established, and through the South Sudanese government, they're closing down 39 overseas embassies due to financial constraints. Mr. Mawien McCall, the spokesman for the Foreign Affairs Ministry, told local media in Juba, and it's because the country is finding it very difficult to maintain those embassies abroad. So it's clear South Sudan doesn't have money, and a lot of these things that they're supposed to be doing in terms of even bringing this unity government together requires a huge financial, they need a lot of money for that. So who should come to the aid of South Sudan at this point? We thought the Pope will do it.
They erred for Pope to kiss you and kiss your feet. Then you don't do it. Don't even climb the helicopter. I'm now telling you, I'm not a prophet. I'm not near those Israel Jewish prophets. I'm not related to any. But I'm telling you, Pope John Paul touched my head in 1998 in Rome when I was struggling to bring peace in northern Uganda. Myself, Obita, and others, Lake, myself, Obita, and that man, the former Prime Minister of Uganda, what is his name? Mama Babas. Pope Paul touched us like this. Me, he touched the head And when he reached me, he said, go and bring peace. Have you ever seen me? I brought the peace. That's why I'm still here. Yes, in that same room where Riaka went, we were there before them. Each Pope has got his own way of doing things. This one kissed them and told them, you are gonna go, baby. If you climb a helicopter now, you are gone. Maybe that's why Riak is fearing.
Yes, and Paulo Tambura, one of our viewers here, thank you so much. You're saying IGAD has sold the right of Sudanese right for their belly. We hope they will wake up to recognize their mistakes.
Who?
So IGAD is just in business. They're benefiting from the crisis in South Sudan, as according to Paulo.
Exactly. Me, I talk the truth. What have I said wrong? Have I insulted President Uhuru? No. Have I insulted President Museveni? No. I tell you, there are countries that are involved in they have taken sides.
Yes.
IGAD therefore cannot mediate. We need an international structured arrangement where there will be a special envoy for Sudan.
That is bipartisan.
Yes.
Yes.
With mandate to shoot, to kill once you violate the... That's it. Wanakuweka kopa ndani. Let copper enter people if you violate the agreement, because now these rebel leaders have refused to listen to Pope, who is near God every night. You know, Pope goes to God, he comes back. He's the only medium of communication. Do we have any?
Yes.
Other bishops were there. My bishop of Canterbury was there.
Even you can communicate.
Yes, I communicate. But my communication reaches near the spirits halfway.
Pope is not.
I don't know, but Pope has something.
Yes.
That's why everybody respects the Vatican.
Of course, the position he holds in the country.
If Riaka wants to understand, Dr. Riaka is an academician. He has written books that he understands how the Vatican and the formation of the mafiadom, the state of Sicily, analyze. Once they touch your feet, brother, and you don't do the thing, you know what it is?
Somebody here has a very interesting view.
Bring it.
Peter Biel is saying, no, South Sudan has money, but Kir used the money for hiring fighters and paying IGAD. Is he the one who pays IGAD?
Keep on coming. Keep on telling us.
Keep on writing. And Stephen.
Yes, we are here to sort the problem, to first hasten the peace process. We are not saying people should start fighting.
We need a unity government now. Enough with the peace process. We need a unity government. Until when?
Even unity government, the more vice presidents you create,
they should cut on that.
Like a Taban. Taban and Riak will kill each other before Salva Kiir kills Salva Kiir and Riak. Because Taban was the deputy to Riak and they are related. They have a problem from their home. They are more confused.
So they bring the problem from to the national stage, national politics.
These Jamen, these are very dangerous. You know, Taban will finish Riek Machar. In fact, Riek Machar is not more worried about Salva Kiir. He's more worried about Taban. Or Taban is more worried about Riek Machar.
And the mistrust.
Yes, because this was a deputy who ran away with documents and stole all intelligence networks and took to the government, got a deputy vice presidency.
So he's a snitch.
Yes, snitch.
Stephen, well, you're saying thank you very much, Dr. Matsanga, for speaking. Those in Juba called JCE are just prejudiced. They will never bring peace in South Sudan unity. And also Munkat, you're saying IGAD is led by thieves and they're also part of the crisis. Absolutely. And Michael Achwil Mashar, you're saying hello. And Stephen Lemmy, you're saying few individuals in the IGAD are the ones spoiling this situation. Maker Mayom, you're saying, what kind of tribunal would you prefer, Dr. Matsanga? Is it international tribunal or African-sponsored process, since Africans don't trust the Hague-based court?
International. Hybrid. I've already got a draft.
So, what is wrong with an African-found solution?
Where?
Court?
Where?
And then we'll start...
An African is already in trouble. Is IGAD not African? I am an African, I'm a Pan-African. I would like, okay, let IGAD, if you create a tribunal, who will pay the judges? You need international community. You need agencies, neutral people who will listen without going to bribe. You can see Maraga here in Kenya is even letting us down. He is incompetent. The worst judge on this continent.
We agreed he's making progress.
Wait, progress.
Are we pedaling?
He's taking us. No,
yes,
we are not. He has made some progress, but not enough. He's like a UN. He comes too late. He does very little. He departs with blood.
Well, he has 2 years before he departs, so
he has to live those 2 years.
We'll put up with
I'm
that.
warning.
You're warning.
Maraga enda. You will get his pension. Miriam, why are you worried? He's gonna get his pension. If Maraga wakes up today,
yes,
and says, I want to go and be on the independent tribunal, hybrid, Matanga will propose his name very quickly.
And you believe he's inept and you will propose his name very
no,
quickly?
No, they will find some sharp brain, they will teach him.
Now you need to take a stand right now.
Yes.
Is Maraga inept or not?
He's incompetent.
He's incompetent.
But he has got brains.
No, I have a lot of respect for that man. Yes.
He has brains.
Yes.
But he doesn't use them. The mafia misused his position. The mafia in the Supreme Court of Kenya is this CJ Mwiru, the woman.
She's the head of mafia.
Yes. Umwif, the thief. When is her ruling coming? This month. Is it 29th? Yeah, next week. Is it? I wish it comes quickly. She leaves our court.
David Gatket at Tapshang, you're saying South Sudan became a milking ground for dictators in East Africa bloc. IGAD's leaders are working hard to prolong the war for their own benefits. What a shame. And that is what you're saying. And of course, somebody here, John Justice, you're saying 70 benefited from South Sudan more than any other leader in IGAD's country. Yes, and Michael Achwil Mashari saying, why East Africa don't intervene in South Sudan? What do you mean East Africa? What has East Africa been doing in terms of helping South Sudanese? I know Kenya has been helping.
Kenya has helped. President Uhuru Kenyatta has helped enormously.
Even from the days of
he has even paid bills. Wait, he has paid bills for Riek Machar. He's paid. I'm a witness. Very serious witness. We paid bills for Riek Machar. And let Riek Machar say no, then you can hear me. I write the best English that he has never seen. Paid bills. Dr. Riek Machar came to Kenya. President Uhuru Kenyatta helped. He has done his best. He has done his best. Dr. Monica has done her best to persuade these guys to be on the ground. We have given them Mr. Kalonzo as an envoy. They say no. What delegates do they want? Tribunal!
Yeah.
Tribunal!
Because the rest of the world seems to have given up on this South Sudan matter.
Yes. You send them Kalonzo, they say no. They don't. Why don't they like Kalonzo? Let him be there to see what goes on. He can help with international agencies. They don't want. Now, wait, Matsanga is, I'm not, hey, am I a diplomat? Have you heard the name that the Honorable Ambassador Matsanga? No, I'm a Pan-African activist, period. And where I see a problem, whether Zimbabwe, whether South Africa, where I'm waiting for the result by evening, I will know Malawi. I will hit where Malawi has gone wrong.
All right.
I am a Pan-African activist. I'm not a diplomat.
No.
Don't expect me to speak like a Macharia or Dr. Monica or Dr. Kutesa or Kero Oriem. I'm an activist. An African who died by Africa like a Nyerere. Full stop. Nyerere tells you, I am going to Biafra. In 1967, the younger generation that are on Facebook, we were using typewriter and the telegrams. I am a product of typewriter and the telegram. Nyerere did one good thing for African Union, which was called Organization of African Unity. President Nyerere decided to recognize Biafra. Obote recognized Biafra. Kaunda recognized Biafra. Haile Selassie recognized Biafra. Have you seen? AU was left helpless. Where is the war? The war ended. You better stand like a Nyerere, die poor and be buried like a Nyerere, than to be told you are hiring Reinberg to bring money to feed his wife here.
How much was he being paid?
$3 million.
3.5, yeah?
$3.5 million.
US dollars, that's a lot of money. From a country that is really financially
I can do that. I can stop the tribunal
like
by saliva.
Saliva.
And yes, by even Salva Kiir shaking my hand.
Your currency is so it's very easy.
Didn't I stop the ICC with saliva? Bed and breakfast. Show me who has paid me. Paid me where? And some of them even hate me. How many of the 6 always look for Matanga to see whether he's wearing shoes? That's what we call volunteer work. Whether I'm sleeping hungry or not. How many does Joshua Sang even leave Kitale and say, let me say thank you? When you find him, he wants to increase height.
That is mean. Mali Shadrach, you're saying life expectancy in South Sudan is 57 years. Leaders who lived their full lives are using youth to have never spent quarter of their lives. What advice would you give to the South Sudanese youth?
Karl Marx.
What advice would you give to
South Sudanese
youth?
You know what Karl Marx did? He died without a house. But he left a name, a Fiore.
A legacy, yes.
So I will leave a Fiore. The good thing, I have children. Very good, well-organized 80 children. Yes.
Good.
They have grown, and then good 9 grandchildren. At least one of them will remember me. May God help me.
Only 1 out of 8.
At least I'm saying 1.
Only 1 out of 8.
They can be 2 or 3, but 1 will not forgive grandpa. Because all of them see the grandpa on TV. They are watching now. In London, they are watching.
All right.
I've stuck, I've suffered. So I'm not bothered. I'm saying the truth to save those guys in the forest, in the running in the terrain of Bo, Western Equatorial, in Yumbe, in all these places. People are in need for food, for everything, for medicine. I'm trying to save humanity. If you hate me, God help you. In fact, the more you hate me, the more God will like me. Because I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just simply saying the peace process has to move on faster.
The unity government must be achieved.
Yes.
Like there's no alternative to that.
We can't have this every day, every running. Oh, we are having a IGAD meeting again in Addis Ababa to eat paper and that thing which is very, very hot paper. What is it called in
jalapeno?
Hot. There's a lot of spice in Ethiopia.
Okay.
I can't even stand it. My stomach always rumbles.
No,
so these are some, yes.
It's good. The pepper is good for you.
I don't know.
It's actually good for your stomach.
They run there to eat every day.
Okay. But answer this question from our viewers I asked earlier. He's saying life expectancy in South Sudan is 57 years. Leaders who live their full lives are using youth who have not even spent quarter of their lives. What advice would you give to the youth of South Sudan?
Remain campaigning vigorously like I'm doing. Don't go to violence. Don't go to guns. Don't start killing people. Don't do demonstrations. Because the soldiers in Juba are unacouth. They will kill you. Don't try demonstrations. Senor. I'm being honest. Today I told you when I started, I would be as honest. There is no army in Juba.
And candid, yes.
There is no army. It's a group of rebel leaders, militia men, co-opted in SPLA. Show me very few officers, like General Deng, Major General Deng, the one who did the Uganda peace process. That's a civilized man. The rest they will finish you. You come to the street, they will beat you, River Nile will be full of dead bodies. Don't try.
No wonder the red card movement did not.
Red card is just on paper on Facebook. Do it from Washington.
It was not. It's just a hashtag.
Oh,
all right. So, Michael Loso, you're saying thank you, Dr. and Miriam, for the important topic. Kiir and his flowers, but have to face justice for the crimes they commit against people of South Sudan. Kiir and his flowers.
Both. The tribunal will tell us what to do. What do you want us to do? The tribunal. It's not me.
All right. Ndundi Ume, you're saying yes, but they need referendum to decide whether to be as a confederation in other to. Hey, they had a referendum to leave and they left. They need another referendum to decide if they want to stay as a confederation.
You had a question to fear about separation.
Yes.
You ask it now. We don't want to look like we are in Africa telling people to go away. We want to tell you that you asking for states is costly. Compare if you look at South Sudan. So those asking for states must look at South Sudan as a case study. 3 years or 4 years after having the state, they went to war.
Actually, maybe 2.5, just about.
They ashamed us.
2010 and then 2010.
They ashamed us.
The war broke, yes.
You see? They ashamed us.
And that, we know the people of Biafra right now, you're agitating for succession 52 years later after the breaking of Biafra war. And Ambazonians also, you cannot stand the government of Paul Biya and you want to see that become your own independent state. But when you stop, do you pay attention to a country like South Sudan, which agitated for secession? It was able to go separate ways and become its own republic. And just a few years after it was formed in 2010, this is what is happening now. And since 2013, South Sudanese have not known peace. What would you say to that?
Let me tell you, East or West, mark that point of mark my own grudge. He says my TV is for fun. Of course TV is for fun. You expected us to cry? At least we are not killing people like you people are killing people in South Sudan. We are only talking. Have you seen that comment? We are only talking to advise you, and the people take advice. This television interviewed Riak, and Riak told us he's under prison. Didn't we make him get out? He got out. So you also shut up and watch.
Peter Biel is saying, Dr. Matanga, South Sudan currency used to be stronger in East Africa and so to Africa as a whole till between 2013 and 2019. But now you cannot use South Sudan money anywhere in the world.
The pound of South Sudan was the greatest. It was equivalent to the Kenya pound. Now we can't.
The Kenya shilling, yes.
It is gone. It was equivalent to Kenya shilling. So when you see our political and economic what we do here, people follow. So many people. We have helped so many governments. We helped Gambians to get freedom. So Mr. Meka Mayon Gurech, wherever you are, I wish you told us where you are. You continue watching, you will learn something from us. We don't want to use insults. We are sorry.
Or maybe you could share with us something that...
you share with us.
Yes.
And you see in a few minutes.
We'll be happy to receive information.
By next week, you'll see reaction. Can he ask him? Maybe he's waiting for you to share. They always like to hear your soft-spoken voice.
It's okay, Maker. In case there's any information out there you feel we should have a hold of, please just share with us and we will share with the rest of our viewers. And thank you for watching. Keep watching.
And Mr. Joseph Otto Manasseh from Denmark. Thank you very much, my brother. Are you still saying I have forgiven so and so instead of saying we have forgiven each other? That is still inciting wars. By who, Manasseh, whom have you said you have forgiven so and so? Or saying we have forgiven each other? I don't know what you mean. Ours is, we are not saying, we are saying it is up to you Sudanese to do what you want to do. But accountability.
I think he's referring to the leaders of South Sudan. They're saying they're forgiving each other, but their actions do not portray that. So they're still inciting each other to wars. when they meet in these public forums, like Dr. Kiir, President Kiir was saying, Dr. Machar should come back to Juba. He's forgiven him so that they can start the process of the unity government.
But Dr. Riek Machar says he can't just jump on a plane. When the other time he walked 1,000 miles through Rukwamba up to Central African Republic. He was being chased by guns, helicopters, and so on. He escaped. That is the main worry that Dr. Riek Machar has put forward. The security arrangements in Juba are not adequate.
Not sufficient.
So let's get UN to get security adequacy. Am I speaking the correct English today?
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
Okay, and Dundi Umar, you're saying South Sudan did not have real roadmap how they will govern their people, and that's why they go into another war that wasted too many lives and properties. So they did not have a roadmap. Is that the similar situation happening right now in Sudan? They knew they did not want Omar al-Bashir, but after that, they did not think it out after that. And then
now they are planning another send on the army.
Now it's a stalemate. Was that the case with South Sudan?
No,
they did not have
the South Sudan problem was purely internal confrontation, power, greed, corruption. That's it. Too much corruption within the Salva Kiir administration of SPLM brought a conflict. Each power, Riek wanted the modernization of the constitution, elections to be held, accountability. Salva Kiir wanted accountability, also said there was no accountability on the other side. The other one said there was no accountability. It brought a conflict. And here we are. That's where we are today.
All right. And Peter Biel, you're also saying you're absolutely talking about South Sudan, who they do not own anything.
You know, Manasseh is saying, Salva Kiir is saying he has forgiven Riek. What about Riek? Riek will also say, they went to Pope. They should have put this problem before Pope.
They must have said they've forgiven each other before.
Then what is the problem? The problem on the ground is that there are no troops there to safeguard each other at night. At the end of the day, Salva Kiir remains the president of the South Sudanese people because he's the one who was left in power. That's the problem we faced when we went to solve the Uganda crisis. Konyi said we can't recognize Museveni. I said if you can't recognize Museveni, then tomorrow let me call on satellite the helicopters to come to take me back home. Honestly, until Konyi admitted, he said at night they went back to talk. They said tomorrow, no, we have changed our mind. We now recognize that Museveni is the president.
All right.
That's because I told him if you don't recognize President Museveni, then the peace process does not go. Because as far as the world, the people who have given us helicopters to come here, they have recognized the government of Republic of Uganda is in peace talks with the Lord Resistance Army. But if you say the Lord Resistance Army, which is not on the table, I'm the one saying I'm talking on your behalf because warrants are out for you. And then you tell me you don't recognize Museveni. How? As we speak now, Salva Kiir is the president of Republic of South Sudan. Dr. Riek Machar knows that. He's a good mediator, very good mediator. We've lost, Africa has lost a very good brain in mediation. He's a very good guy. He has the mediation, all the tactics, all the language, very honest guy. We lost a mediator. To me, because that is how he mediated this tough conflict between me, even forcing me to shake my hand in Kampala for the first time after 23 years with Museveni. Yes, he's a good mediator.
And of course the other day,
while I shook the hand, I missed. You know what I missed. They told me they will give me my allowances. They never paid me allowances up to today. Museveni and his people ate it.
Yes, and the other day, President Salva Kiir came out and said, he does not want to stick to power. Rather, the way people are saying he does not want to relinquish power, he's saying the more you keep fighting him, the more you keep creating these insecurities in South Sudan and the wars that are continuing, then he will continue to stay. So if you don't want him to continue, and they're supposed to be having the elections, I don't know, next year or so, and he's saying he's ready to leave the office, but the more you keep fighting his government, you're prolonging his stay. So Raymondo, you're saying, can you talk about the economy when the government cannot pay civil servants salaries for months or less than $10
there are serious
a month,
questions here.
Yet pumps out oil 24 hours. But also the protests in Sudan sort of affected, because the oil passes through Sudan, so that affected also South Sudan in a way. But our viewer here wants to know how they're pumping oil 24 hours and yet they cannot pay the civil servants. What is happening?
That oil is taxed by Khartoum. It goes through a pipeline. Khartoum takes some percentage. I think by the time the oil comes, the money comes out of the central bank somewhere, it is remaining peanuts. So they divide amongst the top echelons. So how are you going to pay the civil servants? A country without a bank, which bank is there? KCB?
Equity, no?
They are just beginning.
Okay.
But Equity the Equity cannot be getting its money to pay. There is nothing coming into the reserves of the nation.
Yes.
They are only spending the little and hoping that the oil, the pipe does not stop.
The country's central bank, there's no money in the reserves.
It's not there. The country needs support. The peace process needs support. Salva Kiir needs support. The entire continent. The only thing you can do is to get my brothers, hand them to the doorsteps of the United Nations Security Council to determine the peace process by a tribunal of a hybrid nature that will make things work. The money will come, the funding will be there, the soldiers will be there, a contingent will be got, that will be there to police the peace process, not to keep peace which does not exist. And another person has asked a very serious question here, that if Salva Kiir gave you that money of $3.7 million, would you agree to persuade the tribunal not to go? No, I will not agree. I don't want it. My problem is not the money. My problem is the type of person who has been given the money.
So
those are two different things. So that money could be utilized somewhere else in a peace process. That money could be utilized in re-engaging accountability from the ground, assessing, sensitizing people, educating people of how to live together in gacaca courts. Sudan needs the gacaca courts, a gacaca format of courts, like where people can come and say, I am sorry, I am sorry, I am sorry, I am sorry. We need that mechanism now for Sudan to be back, South Sudan to be as it is. We need that mechanism because the tribal, ethnic, and other things have turned South Sudan into a country polarized on the Nu and the Dinka, and other small tribes have sat there watching helplessly. These two tribes cannot come together until there is a format of accountability that will bring them together either cohesively by force or by understanding of a tribunal that will make some people accountable for the crimes committed on 464 to 84,000 people who perished.
Yes, indeed, and I see that looks like the sentiments of many South Sudanese. They're saying yes, South Sudan indeed needs a tribunal. And Richard, you're saying yes, it will speed up the peace process, and the international community will be willing to get involved in building our country. We need both Riek and Kiir to be put out of the picture of South Sudan politics.
That is up to the Sudanese.
And that is what the United States wanted. Yes. And so when they refused, it backed off. So you think now it has come back in the name of Rainburger?
Exactly. I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. People are...
The US had suggested Kiir and Machar to be out of South Sudan politics, to step down. Nobody was having that. And so the United States, because it was the one spearheading the talks and the peace process, it backed out, and now we are left in Africa to grapple with the very shaky peace deal process in South Sudan. That hopefully, will culminate to the formation of unity government that the South Sudanese citizens really need so bad. As it is now, they're wary and they're wondering, this extension, will it amount to anything? Philip Anyuon is saying, help us spread the word in your plates from May 23rd, peaceful in most cities around the world. Sorry, is this another protest you're organizing? Majak, please give us more details on that. All right. And John Odette, you're saying, please, can you talk about harassing of foreigners in South Sudan?
Of course, that is known. Mm. And that is known in South Sudan.
They're not very welcoming, I
yes. Hear. They are welcoming. There was no, when we were in South Sudan doing the peace process, mm-hmm. when it had not gone away from Sudan, mm-hmm. you could sleep outside, nobody would steal even your money. You can even leave your $10,000 on the table. Nobody will take it. Mm-hmm. And you sleep, your hotel is open in the tent. Nobody. This theft has been brought by us Ugandans and the Kenyans mm-hmm. who went there. We became thieves. Mm-hmm. Hey, let's talk the truth. We also took bad behavior there. Mm-hmm. Those Sudanese were not thieves. Mm-hmm. You can accuse the Sudanese for fighting, but you cannot accuse them for being thieves. No. That one, I put in my hands for anybody to cut. Mm-hmm. You could sleep with $20,000 in a tent. Nobody will come and take it. They could find your telephone and give it to you. Those South Sudanese, those are disciplined people. We Ugandans and the Kenyans went there. We took theft, breaking, robbery, armed, this. We are the people who spoiled that place. We took bad manners there. Yeah. If I cannot speak now in Africa, who else? Who else is going to speak? We took bad manners in South Sudan. Let's accept. Mm-hmm. We became thieves, breaking into banks, organizing fraud. We have Jirongo here who cannot stop there. He took their money.
The one Jirongo?
Yes!
That is now bankrupt.
If the plane makes a mistake by landing in Juba, he will even jump out before the plane jumps. Yeah, man, you people, we took bad manners in that place. What are you talking about? We took our theft, our behaviors in the capital city, Kenya and Kampala. We arrived in a place, people were so, I tell you, you could, in 2006, when I was doing the peace process in South Sudan, I could sleep, my tent was open. And my briefcase was always there with documents of LRA, with money of the peace process. Mm. People, they had given me guards, but if all these guards could, I tell them go and sleep. I sleep alone. Nobody could steal anything. South Sudanese are very good people. Don't mistreat them. It is we who took theft there with our troops, starting to get corruption. Well, let's talk the truth, man. When will Africa speak the truth? Every day we lie that we are very good. We are not. How many Kenyans were detained there for theft, for fraud? Mm. If they can sell gold here, they have even a gold smelter A gold smelter in the capital city, Nairobi.
In the house.
Smelting fake gold. Another Ugandan, yes, Ugandans. You know Mr. Malong, who was here, who was swimming in money. You know where he is now?
Where is he?
In Luzira.
He's in prison?
Yes.
What did he do? Money.
Gold. This gold has got a long journey. All the way from Garamba Park. This gold, if you trace it very properly, you will find they have killed so many people on the way.
Of course. Of course, a very dangerous trade. And Paul Akum, saying South Sudan, the tragic is power struggling. And I think we mentioned that at the beginning of the show. When these people sit down and talk about the peace, I think their priorities are very misplaced. And what comes top of the list is not the welfare of the Sudanese people, is the power sharing, the power struggles, and the egos that are involved in this peace deal. It's just about power struggling. That's why there are a lot of vice presidents in South Sudan. A government that is not even able to pay its servants, and you have all these people, and the wage bill is already ballooning. I don't even know how that makes sense. And Thok Philip, you're saying you're enjoying the topic. Galdino Sabet, you're saying Dr. Matsanga, you're the voice of the voiceless. Thank you for the debate. Listening from the United States. All right.
Thank you very much. And I thank you very much for also being there with us. This is the People's Court. We have come to almost 1.5 hours of a very good marathon debate, ranging over 120 people per second in times 1.5 hours. In terms of, you can say, the viewership for yourself. So thank you very much, my people. Continue struggling, continue saying the truth. It will set us free on South Sudan. South Sudan needs help. South Sudan must come back to the reality that there is no other body that can bring peace.
Outside of them.
Yes. They have to begin from the people-oriented peace, accountability. We must bring in Gachacha format that can say, okay, we were all living together as brothers, Dinka and Anua and the Nur. So we have erred. Let's come back together and let's UN and other agencies help us. That's what we need in South Sudan. Thank you very much for your patronage. Thank you very much. I speak on topical issues. Tomorrow will be Zimbabwe.
All right.
And on Thursday, Abazonia. Had you prepared Abazonia tomorrow? Yes. Abazonia tomorrow morning at 11 in the evening, People's Court, Zimbabwe.
All right.
If you are Zimbabwean anywhere in the world, tell us, be prepared tomorrow. You are censored in the African People's Courts.
And just before we leave, Bola Kum Deng here, you're saying he's a chief diplomatic communications for South Sudan in Washington. He's been there for 4 years, and down here he's saying that in case there's, he enjoys the show, and he's asking that, let me know what I can do to clear some misunderstandings. So he wants to participate in the show, maybe through.
I thank you very much. Our number
is on the screen.
Our number, no, the number you can call me, Paul, is +254. You say
they can put it. I think they had put it earlier.
Put it up there.
Could do that for even the rest of our viewers.
And you can send me an email on africastrategy@hotmail.com. Paul, please, I need somebody from Washington who can be on Skype.
Paul.
And don't
yes,
don't hesitate. Be on Skype. Pick up Skype. Challenge me.
Yes, and contribute.
Don't leave me to go haywire.
So I think they're working on putting the number on the screen, and
but I can tell you the number is +254.
Yes.
795 638 145.
Yes, indeed.
But the email is africastrategy@hotmail.com, lowercase small letters,
Africa Strategy
at
hotmail.com. Stephen, while you're also asking if you could contribute, I'm sure you
can contribute.
The email.
Send us your Skype name. We send our Skype name is Punchline TV.
And then we'll organize for you being part of the show next time.
Part of the show.
Topic,
We like very many of you.
All right, good.
Be on the show and there will be a very good one. How? It will be very enjoyable.
All right, Bolakum, you got that. All right, good. Thank you.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.